What is business cycles? The business cycle, or economic conjuncture, is the short-term rise and fall fluctuations of a country's aggregate economic activity. There are times when businesses experience short-term economic downturns, often known as recessions, which are periods when output and employment decline. And there are times when an economic upturn occurs, where output and employment increase, which is known as an expansion, sometimes called a recovery.
Business cycle scope. The hypothetical business cycle would run from peak to trough and back again in a regular cycle. Business cycles in the real world are not as frequent as these hypothetical cycles. First, peaks are the highest point in the business cycle and can be seen when a country output reaches its highest level and inflation reaches its highest level too. Second, recession is a phase where economic growth slows down and there is a decline in output, unemployment rate increases, and inflation falls. Third, expansion is a time when output and employment increase, consumers are strong, companies increase investment, and inflation rises. Fourth, trough is the lowest point in the business cycle where output is very low, unemployment is high, and inflation is low.
The next one is types of economic conjuncture. First one, internal factor cycle. Internal factors refer to some components of the economic system. For example, a rise in interest rates may reduce aggregate demand as borrowing money or buying property becomes more expensive. As a result, customers will spend less money on goods. Second one, exogenous factor cycle. Examples of exogenous factors in the business cycle are climate change, discovery of scarce resources, war, and even migration, which means that they are triggers from outside the economic system that affect the business cycle.
Conjunction theory. A conjunction or economic cycle, according to Kurman, is a fluctuation in economic activity that occurs periodically in the short term, characterized by a period of expansion and contraction. Keynes theory. Classical economic implies that the aggregate demand curve is only affected by change in the money supply, without considering other factors. However, Keynes argued that other factors, especially cases in a business confidence, have a significant impact on shift in the aggregate demand curve in the short term. One example of the difference of openly between classical and Keynes economics is the short-run aggregate supply curve, as shown that in the classical view, the short-run aggregate supply curve is parallel to the aggregate level, so change in the aggregate price level strongly affect aggregate demand. Curve B. So Keynes' perspective, the short-run aggregate supply curve is upward sloping in the short run, indicate that changes in the aggregate demand are affected by other aggregate output and not only aggregate price.
Analysis of the economic crisis in Indonesia. An economic crisis in Indonesia is a serious condition in which there is a significant decline in the country's economic activity. Some of the factors that cause the economic crisis in Indonesia include: first, 1997 monetary crisis. The ASEAN monetary crisis in 1997, which started with a sharp depreciation of the rupiah exchange rate, caused a deep economic crisis in Indonesia. This resulted in high inflation, decreased purchasing power, and a widespread financial crisis. Second, dependence on commodities. Indonesia, which depends on commodity exports such as oil and mining, is vulnerable to global price fluctuation. A drop in commodity prices can damage the Indonesian economy. Third, corruption and political instability. Rampant corruption and political instability can hamper economic growth and lower investor confidence.
Fourth is social and economic inequality. Inequality between rich and poor, as well as disparities between urban and rural areas, can exacerbate economic crisis by reducing social and economic stability. COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a serious impact on the Indonesian economy, with decreased economic activity, decreased investment, and increased unemployment. To overcome the economic crisis, the government needs to implement appropriate policies such as economic stimulus, structural reforms, increased investment in infrastructure, and protection of vulnerable economic sectors. Collaboration between the government, private sector, and society is essential to recover Indonesia's economy and build better economic resilience in the future.